Well, 16?
16, something like that, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're around there somewhere. Getting kind of to the end of the season, so I think
Yeah,
so.
we got, today and then next week, season finale?
Season finale, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice
you
little,
leave, what?
nice little guests we're going to be recording, so.
Yeah, you leave Wednesday, right? For
Yeah.
your trip? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So, day this airs, I'll be heading out to Oregon for a week.
Right on. Well, safe travels.
I don't think the weather's going to be any better than it was here the last week,
I
so.
was just say they're talking.
I'm not too hopeful.
Yeah, they're talking like upwards of 5 inches of snow tonight here. So
Yeah, we just had 4 this last week, and yeah, they were predicting like less than 2, and we got like 4,
Yeah.
so it was like a little bit of a surprise. But yeah, it was overall it was a busy weekend. You know, how was
Yeah.
your Thanksgiving?
busy. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't a lot. We had 10 people over, so it was nice.
Good.
It was a good Thanksgiving, and then my youngest birthday was the day before Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
so we celebrated his birthday that evening, which is really, really nice. So yeah. Besides that, you doing anything pyro related anytime soon?
No.
No?
I'm kind of taking a little bit of a hiatus from some of that kind of stuff. A little bit
Are
I mean, obviously trying to work a little bit on the house remodel and stuff like that. You know, I spent most of the Thanksgiving weekend doing a huge project, the remodeling thing. So
Yeah,
that's kind of moving forward. So our next big task will be our kitchen. So it's
Yeah. Was that your living room, right?
No,
You
it's
sent me
like a
pictures?
little eat-in part of our kitchen. So it's like a little small
Okay.
little dining area.
Okay.
So I think we're going to turn it into a little bar area. I think is actually what we're going to do with it. So
Nice.
it's
Nice.
kind of that's an unused space that we're going to kind of use it for something. And so then we're doing the kitchen next. So dreading not having a kitchen.
Yeah.
We're going through all that process. It's going to be
We're working on figuring that out ourselves, so I feel your pain.
yeah. That'll probably be Christmas, New Year's kind of a task. So
Yeah.
Patrick, do you think for Thanksgiving
Yeah,
with
go
your
ahead.
family?
Yeah, I was working on Thanksgiving actually,
Okay.
so yeah. But no business like show business. So
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Staying busy all the
And
time.
we'll touch on what kind of work that might have been doing. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody knows where Patrick works at. Maybe.
Yeah, I actually I have a show this Saturday for Santa Claus, or I'm sorry, this Friday. So it's a rooftop show, and then we have a club event on Saturday. Going to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra on Sunday, so that'll be kind of fun. And then the same place I'm going to see them on New Year's, I do a indoor hockey arena fireworks show. So
Okay.
yeah, they just got a new like scoreboard up top, so I got to go make sure that it's not any closer to the ice, and we're not going to be ruining $1 million piece of equipment or however much that cost.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Like a good time.
sure, yeah, we'll go with that. All right, well, why don't we just hit this intro kickoff, and then we'll chat with Patrick here a little bit and
Yeah.
get some insight.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. Do this.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Pyro Unleashed. Tune in weekly as Donnie and David discuss all things pyro, from the business aspect of the industry to technical tips and mesmerizing pyro designs. On Pyro Unleashed, we invite cutting-edge experts to the podcast to discuss their role in making this industry a success. So, sit back and unleash your inner pyro with us.
So I had to redo the math. This is 17.
This is 17.
So this is 17. Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked down at the notes.
It was supposed
a
to have been
pop-
16. It was supposed to have
it
been
was
16.
a pop quiz for everyone, right?
Pop
Yeah.
quiz.
Quizzing
Yeah,
everyone,
we'll go
all the
with that.
viewers.
All right. Well, this is Patrick. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing well. You?
We appreciate good, doing good. Been a little while coming. Glad you're feeling better, and
Absolutely.
yeah, let's.
Appreciate the patience.
We get it. I mean, gosh, I was sick for 3 weeks, and then I went on vacation, so I get
Yeah.
it. I get it. So yeah, all right. Well, you want to kind of kick it off a little bit first, Donnie, with the Cobra sponsorship?
Yeah. Again, our main primary sponsor this season was Cobra Firing Systems. They just had the end of their Black Friday sale, so I know there's a lot of people who cashed in on that. They did a little Cyber Monday. I know that came out I think today. I know there's a lot of people that were cashing in on that. There's some people in KCAP bought a lot of equipment.
I know several people buying it on that.
I'm happy for that, for a big show we might have in 26. The more Cobra stuff people buy, the more I can use.
No idea what that is.
So, definitely excited that people bought some more stuff, and then obviously CobraCon they got coming up in April.
They do.
Muncie, Indiana.
Super pumped for that.
We are definitely excited for that. We've been having a little show talk about our show we're doing. So a little audio track work we've been doing.
What, five runs?
5 runs, yeah. I think we got our audio track maybe lined out. We're getting close.
I think we got it. Like 30 minutes ago, we finally got it. So
yeah, definitely.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I don't think anybody's going to expect it. It's going to be
fun.
It's either going to like make you die laughing, or you're going to be like, I never want to see a musical again, or I don't want to see what you guys ever do again. Either way, it's going to be funny.
Yeah,
for us, it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Yeah. So yeah, definitely look for that, and thanks to Cobra for giving us the opportunity to be able to to put on shows out there and do seminars and classes and everything they do for the community. So
yeah,
again, huge shout out to them.
Huge shout out. What system do you use, Patrick? On a daily basis? I don't know. Or throughout your career?
Throughout my career, I've had experience with Pyromate, Cobra, a lot of years with Cobra.
Okay.
Quite a few. Some Fire One and some Pyro Digital as well throughout the length of my career there.
Okay. So you want to, I guess, let's start out. How did you get into Pyro? Why did you get into Pyro? We kind of asked this for everybody, and then kind of give us a portfolio about who you are and I guess what you do now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started in Pyro back in 2007.
Okay.
And it was February of 2007 to be exact. And ultimately, I had gone through high school and I had quite a few kind of career changes or ideas of where I wanted to go in life and what I wanted to do. It went everything from veterinary medicine to emergency medical technology, live entertainment, theater.
Okay.
And through the things in life and the hurdles in life, I decided to make some changes, and as each hurdle approached, had to make changes.
Yeah. Life.
Ultimately, life, exactly. But it's about overcoming those challenges and figuring out what you're meant to do. And ultimately, it was between 06 and 07. I just kind of had one of those moments where it was just like, okay, this is third, fourth, career path that I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do the rest of my life, as I, graduated in high school in 2005. And
yeah,
ultimately circled back around in my mind that, I grew up in Florida, South Florida, and had the ability to go to Central Florida and the theme parks quite a bit growing up. And ultimately, one thing that stood out to me in like the live entertainment area was fireworks, nighttime spectaculars, and being able to take those in. And, it was one thing that no matter the darkness that was both, figuratively around me and for real, in reality, that actually, shined that glimmer of hope and lightened the darkness that was around me, so to speak. And I wanted to be able to recreate that feeling for others. So that had me go down the career path of how do I get into professional fireworks and or pyrotechnics, and what does it take? What schooling do I need? And there's really not a career, a schoolistic path, right? No college course on how to become a pyro.
Yeah, not at all.
No.
It's a crash course. I mean, really, it is just like, thrown into the fire.
Yeah. It so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So I started to dabble in and research those things, and ultimately came across just, ultimately you just need the drive, the passion, and the opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
Really, and be open to learning. And after reaching out to a couple of different companies, started my professional career path with a company called Creative Pyrotechnics back in February 2007. Said, hey, not really a full-time thing, but if you have interest, come out to the show we're doing in Winter Springs, Florida. It's in the middle of a cow pasture, vacant cow pasture, but a cow pasture. And you can see what it's about. And if you have interest further and we're interested in you, you can keep on going. And ultimately, it went well from there. And I was under the age of 21, so it was more of an assistant at that point. And then at the age of 21, became an operator or shooter and kind of that lead on a crew. And from there, really just took off, where I was helping manage logistics and sales and contracting with clients, and kind of the whole mix, finding regulatory and compliance aspects, not only with storage as a responsible party, but also the GOT side, logistics, and all the fun that goes in behind the scenes to a show to make it happen. And getting into the industry doesn't really, a lot of people may not know this, but it doesn't really pay the bills, so to speak, right, as your primary job when you're first starting out.
Yep.
Even years later, it may not. And so I also, for about 12 years, had a primary job with a major financial services institution as operational risk and business consultant. That job paid the bills. The other one allowed me to continue seeking that passion and driving forward down the path. And then ultimately in 2002, well, it was after pandemic, I think 21, I started seeing positions open up for an employer where I really wanted to be, to do this full time and bring to life, and it really made things come full circle for me, where in May of 2022 I was selected after applying as to become a fireworks designer, or part of the team of fireworks designers for Disney Live Entertainment.
That's
which
awesome.
Is thank you. Thank you. And that's ultimately a division of the company that focuses on bringing together theatrical and live entertainment experiences across, Disney's theme parks and cruise ships and beyond, both at Walt Disney World, Orlando in Florida, and at Disneyland in California as well.
Okay.
And in the so I've been there since May of 2022, and ultimately I've had the experience to primarily support the Central Florida location, but I've had the experience to be able to support Disneyland in California too.
Oh, really?
It's a pretty big honor to have. So
that's awesome. So I don't know how much you can chat about like that at all, but how big is the team that you work with?
Can't divulge a lot, but I can say the team is our current team in Florida is we have a total of 9 on our team that handles everything across property. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, that's insane. So you just design. I mean, that's what you do.
It's ultimately the theatrical and technical design. So everything from, it could be infrastructure related up to the implementation, the creative implementation of Nighttime Spectacular.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right. So I know
a dream come true, right?
Yeah. I mean, really. Yeah. So I know I don't know how much talk you can do about this either. I know there's a lot of chatter about, in Disney they do everything they launch everything by air. How true is that? Is that something you can touch on a little bit, or?
Can't really go into full detail.
Okay. Yeah. But I get it.
It happens, but it may not be to the full extent that it's been shared with you. So.
Okay. All right. Intriguing.
Anything beyond that, okay.
Yep. No, like I said, I get it. I mean, I know this is, I know it's kind of a touchy subject for you, because obviously this is, I don't want you to have to put your job on the line for this at all, but I guess, I
appreciate that.
Yeah. More so than, talking about Disney, I guess that's kind of what really brought you, into fireworks full time. But I guess let's chat about PyroJam. Like, how did you... PyroJam. So 2 times? 2 times you've shot show
I've actually entered all 3 times.
You have entered all 3 times, okay.
Yes, I've entered all 3 times.
The last 2 years you've had shows shot there. Wonderful. And so, a couple things. I guess let's start off, why did you enter? And what was walk us through the thought process behind, I guess, all 3 shows. I haven't seen the first one that you entered, but touch on those a little bit, because I'm very intrigued into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first year I entered, it was something that was new. I always like to stay up on skill sets and technology, and I feel PyroJam is a way to be able to not necessarily work within the confines of a client, right? You work within confines, right? So rules for your design, for your show, but you're not limited to that smaller budget client or a specific ask. You're really able to drive, more of your passion and the story that you want to portray. Yeah. Which isn't commonly possible, right? Because a lot of the work that we do is as pyros is usually, if it's not a hobby, a backyard show or something, it's you have a client paying for a show, then they want to show a particular way. So really that kind of same respect there, it was just something for me to be able to kind of keep up on my skill set initially.
Yeah.
And so from there, 2021, we were coming out of the pandemic, and put the show together. And of course, we all think all our own shows are, through the roof spectacular. And it didn't get selected as a top finalist. And so in life we have in those moments we have the option to either be like, yeah, they don't know what they're talking about, or they're looking for, or really taking the feedback. And so we had reached out to Tim Jameson, who puts on PyroJam, him and his company, and ultimately just asked, what is it what scores or what were the judges' feedback ultimately, and took that into consideration. And one of I'm a very emotional person. I tend to lean into emotion when I design. Yeah. In one way or another. And one thing that was shared was that I was leaning too far into emotion.
Really?
Wow.
Never been told that before in my life. And I was like,
that's
what
interesting.
In the world? Yeah. But I can understand coming out of a pandemic, and really it's the first year of an event. And then your judges, any art form, right? It's in the eye of the beholder. Art's in the eye of the beholder. And so what I see as one thing, you may not, and may interpret things differently. And so I think that's something that's important as designers or, pyros, as we're designing PyroMusicals for competitions or clients or whatever, that we take that and remember, take that in the back of our mind and remember that as we're designing that, what's the judging panel looking for? What's the client looking for? And use that to your advantage then. And don't let a door that doesn't open necessarily be one that just stays, slams in your face and you just walk away. Keep trying. And that's ultimately what I did. The second year I went back, totally different storyline, different feel, different emotion. And I just wanted to bring something to life that brought joy to me during my childhood. Yeah. And that was kind of the story of Aladdin. Yeah. As told by Genie, ultimately leading in. And that's when Legend of the Lamp, that created Legend of the Lamp for 2023, it was selected as a top 3 finalist and finished in 3rd place. Yeah. Once again, you go in, you're thinking, that show was so spectacular, but you have to remember that, this is an international competition, and you're going up against everyone else who, is at the top of their game, and especially when you make it to the finalists. So I don't mean to interrupt.
I do have a question though. So how do I say this? So because we are in America, I think that we as Americans have a certain way of designing a PyroMusical, right? So when you see somebody from another country script something, do you think they're like, oh, that was a really cool idea, and maybe that's, again, I'm just simply asking, is that potentially one of the leading factors as to why you came in 3rd? Or what are your thoughts on that?
It's hard to tell from interpretation, but yes. One thing about especially an international competition is different regions of the globe have different design styles. Correct. And they may be bringing to life something that we've never seen or haven't seen frequently here stateside. So I think that it's not necessarily a challenge, but it's something that brings uniqueness to international competition like this, like PyroJam. Yeah. And then ultimately, I decided to go back kind of on the emotion thing, but something that, on a topic that drove my passion for getting involved and with pyrotechnics, and a little bit on the motivational side, right? Yeah. No matter the darkness, Illuminating Darkness is the show from 2024. Yeah. Entered the competition, finalist, and second with People's Choice.
Second with People's Choice. First with People's Choice, and second with Judges' Vote.
Yep. That's the appropriate way to list that. Yeah. But and ultimately, Illuminating Darkness was more of a passion story for me, and the approach that I take is I envision a PyroMusical more on the storytelling realm. And sure, you can have kind of the impromptu, fun, head-bopping PyroMusicals, but from a storytelling realm, you kind of set yourself apart. And one thing that I've discovered, especially with certain audiences, is that if it doesn't burn your eyebrows off, some people enjoy that more than having emotion evoked.
Yeah.
Right. But I think from my perspective as a designer, I don't think I'll allow that to pull me away from the story and having a premise of that storytelling aspect within shows that I design. Unless, of course, I have a client that tells me that they don't want that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that's ultimately Illuminating Darkness kind of goes back to a moment in my life and primarily during my childhood where there was some darkness and depression and different emotion that I was feeling, and there was always that glimmer of light, and that glimmer of light drove that hope. And the glimmer of light ultimately was representative of my time going as a child to experience nighttime spectaculars at the theme parks in Central Florida. And we're going a little deep here, heavy on emotion, but
No, this is awesome, man. I appreciate you being. Yeah, this is interesting because, we do musicals. I mean, I work full time doing doing firework sales. Donnie scripts musicals as well. We're both doing a collab. We're doing the closing show at CobraCon.
Very nice. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. So it's intriguing to hear, how not necessarily. I mean, maybe I'm interpreting different, but maybe not using as many fireworks can be almost more emotional or less. I mean, just it's all an emotional roller coaster. And I do like doing emotional songs, like I guess I consider it like the view of fireworks, right? You start them out kind of high, you drop them down, you go up a little higher, drop it back down, and then you hit that apex or your finale. And I guess that's kind of how I like to do my fireworks shows. And again, like you're saying, it's an emotional roller coaster. It's highs and lows, highs, lows, highs. Yep. So I get exactly where you're going with that.
And I think that's important too, because sure, we can hit every beat in a song or in our entire show, but sometimes it's good for the audience to sit back and be able to just take it in versus be blown away, so to figuratively.
Yeah, absolutely interesting.
And I think those moments, an audience is allowed to connect with the emotion of a story trying to be told through PyroMusical.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's ultimately the approach that I took for Illuminating Darkness, and just telling that story and where it brought me back to. It was driven by the passion of my past, and just as a reminder that no matter the amount of darkness that's around you, use that glimmer of light, or that the single most lumen of light to drive that hope forward.
Yeah, very intriguing. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Do you think your time that you've spent in your current role as a designer, has that led you down the path to do better at storytelling shows? Is that kind of lending into that and giving you the opportunity to develop and enhance those storytelling more?
I think with any craft, right? I think continued practice, so frequent practice that I've been able to get in my current role, I think that has definitely helped me continue to progress and develop.
Yeah.
On the professional side, and I think also my continued participation in PyroJam. Tim and team could easily provide no feedback whatsoever and just decide to score, because I'm sure that's a daunting task in itself, over 100 entries a year, and everyone's asking for feedback. Yeah. And which is, or a lot are asking for feedback, and to be able to provide that in a meaningful manner like he does, I think is commendable, because I know I've certainly used it to continue to progress over the 3 years that I've entered. And, the scoring and the placement has spoken for itself.
Yeah. No, I agree. I will say, like, watching all three shows it is cool to see just that, again, I mean, different countries, different scripting abilities, different ways to use the fire. I mean, you're literally using the same thing. I mean, in the end, you're using fireworks. There's, I would say maybe a limited number of things you can do with fireworks. So to be able to pull emotion, I guess that is something that a lot of people do find hard. And again, not that everybody can't do it, I feel like it's more of an acquired taste, or again, yeah, like you said, it's time. You just have to learn your way of doing something, and then don't stop. I mean, in the end, just keep going at it, because 20 years of pushing and persevering in here. I mean, look at you, man. You're like in a place that I think half of us in the pyro industry like just only dream of being. So yeah,
and I mean,
that's
it's
really
possible.
awesome.
Appreciate it. And I mean, it's possible too. Like at one point prior to 2.5 years ago, it was a dream to me too.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know how to get here. Didn't know if I was even going down the right path. I knew I was doing something I enjoyed, getting ready, being out in the field doing 4th of July shows and everything. That still brought me joy, and it still helped develop to where I, got. So I guess my thing would be, don't give up, right?
Yeah.
It's, it said, you asked how big the team was, and it said team of 9 in the grand scheme of things, but don't give up. You never know when that opportunity is going to present itself.
Yeah.
It's, if you keep working towards what drives the fire within you and your passion, you ultimately will uncover what your purpose is. Here I am. No,
No, that's awesome.
It still seems so surreal at times, so it's pretty crazy to think about it. It's from where I started, of not knowing where I was going and what the path in life was, and what college course that I needed to take to become a pyro. It was playing with fire as a child, but safely. But yeah, it's come full circle, and I'm appreciative of the opportunities that I've been given through the past companies that I've worked for. And I think also the different skill sets of you don't just need to know how to make something creative, right? You work within the confines of a budget when you're designing parameters and whole 9 yards. So getting familiar with those as you develop, I think, is important as well.
Yeah, most definitely. So something because I was there in person and watched the show. So something I questioned, and again, this is not bad. I just am intrigued. Watching all of the shows, you were the only one that were shooting multiple. Maybe I think I was watching you shoot multiple single shots at the same time out of the same position, like shooting in the same direction. Did I see that correct?
You saw it correct.
Okay. So what is the reasoning behind that? Because I watched that and I'm like, at a point I'm like, is that a waste, or is that a matter of I want to make sure that I have a firework going off every time I'm cueing something?
No, I think there's moments in shows, right, where you definitely want to have to make you can't just rely on the trust of an igniter or a piece of product going off, to where you may want to double up. To be honest, the doubling up that happened, I don't know the full story, but I have a feeling it was something that might have happened in conversion of the script, because it wasn't intentional. Because like if you go back and watch, if you go back and watch the simulation that was released from Finale 3D, the doubling up isn't there. But that that goes back to it's live entertainment, right?
Yeah.
That crew is out there not only the week leading up, but the preparation that's taken place beforehand, and they're putting in time and time again, countless hours of preparation. And that crew, I think, set up the entire, was it 18 or 19,000 cues?
19,000 plus cues,
that took place this past year, and that's a heck of a lot of work.
It's crazy, I mean,
a lot.
The hours that they put in just is nuts. Yeah,
it's round the clock, the clock. But it's live entertainment, right? Stuff like that's going to happen. And how do you overcome and persevere? And things like that are going to happen.
Yeah.
And
no, it's just intriguing.
There may be a misfire or something like that happens too.
Yeah.
So one thing that I've come to as I progress throughout my career is I could have easily, I was there too that night and spoke with crew and could have been like, what's going on? But no, they were out there, they busted their butts all week. And if anything, they're going to be the first ones to notice it too. Like they're the ones who just did all the work.
Yeah.
They saw what the scripts plenty of times as they pulled product and labeled product and cued product. So they didn't need someone like me going, what's this about?
Yeah.
So I don't know the full story, but I haven't inquired, and
no, honestly,
that's why. Just because because I'm appreciative of the opportunity, the work that they and the effort they put in, and that's where I kind of left that was
most definitely. Yeah, no, I genuinely actually really thought that it was all intentional. And so I have been like sitting like waiting to ask you this because I really thought it was intentional.
This year I'll do it just for you.
This is not even me like trying to beat anybody up. I just genuinely thought you did it on purpose. It was like a design technique because of something, previous experience or something. And and
no, that's, I mean, it certainly is a design technique that when you have those moments where you certainly want to make sure that it goes off and you don't have, faulty piece misfire or whatever, but at the same time, the second half of my show, it was not intentional. So
yeah, I gotcha.
And so make kind of along, I guess, those same lines, I guess, talking about how some of the miscues. How closely do you think your last two shows were accurate? Your deep perception of what you do design and see. Like, how closely aligned do you think those two shows were?
Yeah, I think overall, I'd say Legend from the Lamp was probably around like 95%.
Okay.
From what was initially designed, there were a couple pieces that misfired. That were noticeable because obviously you're using silver and a red goes off, that kind of thing, or you have silver comets and a green mine goes off, that kind of thing. But I'd say about 95% for 2023, and this year is probably closer to the 90%. Just and the reason I say 90% is just because that the last kind of two songs where that doubling up occurred.
Yeah,
I would say taking out the factor of the doubling up, it would be about 98%.
Okay.
But,
wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, if it gives you anything more, I thought the doubling up like helped it.
I appreciate that.
It's intriguing how like how you interpreted it, and then how it like came out, and it actually like again, not that what you had originally planned didn't look good, but it's interesting how like I perceived it as being an actual part of the display.
Yeah, I mean, when I went back and watched it on video, I mean, I obviously experienced it in person, but when I went back and watched it on video, like musically, it still went.
It did, yeah.
For the majority of it. I mean, the Green Mine Walk was a little off, but the rest of it, like, it went with music.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where, unless you know, you don't know. Like,
yeah, right, yeah.
So.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it always is. I mean, the pyro who scripted it is the only person who knows when something isn't right? Like nobody else knows.
Our own
like,
worst critic, I feel
yeah,
like. Yeah,
I mean, because David thought it was completely normal that this was how it was designed, and you're like, no, it really wasn't designed that way. So it really is. Yeah, the person, you're the only one who really knows what went wrong.
And it's something that we have to remember too in the field, like whether it's a 4th of July show or not. Like, if a shell doesn't go off or a sequence doesn't go off, I mean, no one's really going to know what was supposed to be there unless you showed the client a previs or something.
Yeah.
So
don't do that. No,
sometimes you don't have a choice. No.
I get it there. Oh, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Show me how this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Can you give me the quiet fireworks?
Yep.
So outside of your current role, like how many other shows are you doing on a yearly basis outside of what you currently do?
Right now, other than PyroJam, I haven't done any outside of the realm of my current role. Prior to that, I was doing quite a bit between minor league baseball, corporate clients, private weddings, traveling productions. I've had the opportunity over the course of my career, prior to my current role, to do some indoor pyro and flame effects for a couple touring theatrical productions. One of them being the National Theatre of Scotland Black Watch. Came into Washington, D.C. because licensed in the state of Maryland, and then for a period of time up until July 2nd of this past year, I let it expire, unfortunately. Was Virginia, licensed in Virginia as well. So had the opportunity as a licensed operator to take on some of that additional work. So everything from 4th of July through being in an indoor theater while it's snowing out and doing rehearsals.
Yeah. Do you plan to enter PyroJam again?
Oh, the looming question.
I was going to say, did you see the Facebook post today?
They just teased it today.
They just teased it today.
It's going to be epic. Bigger than before.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth, really, and it's not that I wouldn't want to be involved. In fact, I want to be able to support PyroJam for as long
Yeah.
as Tim Jameson and Innovative want to put on PyroJam, and that's
Yeah,
because
for sure.
it gave me the opportunity. And I think it's a pretty unique and spectacular opportunity for the industry, and those you don't even have to be in the industry. I mean, my fellow competitor Nick, I mean, it was his first
Yeah.
PyroMusical he scripted, and
Isn't that
look
crazy?
where it got him into the finals. And,
Yeah.
and I think that's what sets PyroJam apart, right?
Yeah.
Not to knock anyone else, because everyone has their own method to the madness as far as what events they want to put on, but it's unique. And
It is very unique.
it's unique from an accessibility perspective.
Yeah.
With the partnership with Finale 3D, giving that free license for the period of the competition, anyone can design a show, and ultimately having the ability to bring that to life without any prior experience even is pretty spectacular. So yeah, I think I go back and forth. Want to definitely support PyroJam, but I don't know if I'll enter, or I don't know what that'll look like, right?
I have a chance this year. No.
Well, I mean,
Or you just have to get Patrick to do the sim for you, right? Like he has he has the secret sauce on how to get picked.
this is how my consulting business kicks off, right? No,
Yeah.
no. So I go back and forth. I'm undecided, but I'm leaning towards trying to find ways to support the event in other ways than entering as a competitor.
Awesome.
So whatever that looks like, however that comes about, it may come to nothing. I may just be an attendee. Who knows? But
You could be a
some way,
designer
somehow.
advocate.
Right?
That's awesome. Have you ever tried to apply? I mean, have you ever thought about applying it maybe Sky Wars or any of these other events that happen across the nation?
As I've dabbled my feet and gotten the toes wet with PyroJam, it has crossed my mind for something like Sky Wars. Ultimately, my end goal would be Celebration of Light,
Okay.
which is a huge one. It's obviously a challenge as an independent designer
Yeah.
versus a display company to compete in something like that, unless you know someone can get on as a designer and they have the means from a display perspective. But that's ultimately my end goal from a competition perspective at this point, right? Goals continue to fluctuate.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, before this year, my goal was, you got to do a big show at PGI, and then I did that. It's like, not that it was like I did that, but it's like, cool, I've done that. Now, what's the next thing I can do?
Yep.
Like, where's the next place I can do something? So I get it. Yeah.
You keep setting the bar, higher for yourself, and
Yeah.
I think that's the way that we learn. That's the way that we continue to develop as professionals and as creatives, is continuing to set that bar high. And just because you hit the mark and you've accomplished a goal, it doesn't mean you sit there and you say, "Yep, I accomplished it."
Yeah.
Let the rest of life go away. No, it's continue forward, because that's what drives that fire within.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
But yeah, Sky Wars, I was thinking about entering for next year, and then they had the weather implications this year, so it's like, that's not going to happen next year. But definitely something that I'm open to, considering the next year that they open for applicants, is to try and go that route as well.
Have you attended Sky Wars previously, or just
No,
MB?
PyroJam was my first ever competition
Okay.
that I've
Okay.
entered and attended. So
Wow.
last year, 2023, was the first competition
Yeah.
that I've ever attended.
Okay.
And then, now the brain has me going other places, right? No, just different possibilities. And so I think it's don't know how to get there, but fill out the application, right?
Yeah. So was doing PyroJam the first time you've used Finale 3D, or are you familiar with that system?
I'm actually pretty familiar with Finale 3D
Okay.
from prior to my time with PyroJam, entering for PyroJam.
Yeah.
One of the companies that I worked for in the past, back when it was Finale Business,
Yep.
dabbled in, yeah.
The effects on the top.
Right? But it's crazy to see where it started and where it is today.
It's incredible. Yeah.
How intuitive it is, and from a user interface perspective, they really try and make sure that it has the capability to do what any of us in the field need it to do.
Yeah.
As close as possible, right? It's still a piece of software. It's still created by humans.
For sure.
But I think it's, on the top of the list from a simulation or, a design software to be able to use and use to the advantage of managing not only the creative aspect of a show, but all the technical aspects of addressing and designing and racking and looping in your inventory with that. So, unpaid spokesperson. It's pretty spectacular to see where it started and where it has become today as a tool in our toolbox as designers.
Yep, most definitely. All right, any other questions, Donnie?
No, let's hop into some of our other segments.
Yeah, man, let's hit this firework review. Let's see what we got today.
This is a short cake today. So
It's a short cake.
That's a quick and easy one here.
I'm intrigued.
Hopefully you've watched it.
What cake? No, I'm just playing. All right, let's hit this intro and then we'll go to the cake.
Raccoon sky painting. And by the way, there's a typo there if you haven't already caught it.
Was there?
Yeah, there's a typo there. Yeah.
I didn't see it.
We'll fix that in season 3.
We're going to let it roll tomorrow.
We're just going to let it roll.
All right, let's hit this cake. Raccoon.
Yeah.
Started them out, episode 1, or well, I guess that we did this, and then today. So let's see what we've done. Consumer cake, and now we're going to do a Proline compound cake. So let's see what this thing does.
So now everybody can have that effect now.
Everybody can do it.
Everybody can do that now, yeah.
Well, it's always a fast cake. I mean, smoke is always fast, so
yeah.
That just is what it is. Colors, yeah. I mean, again, this is a production video, right? I mean, not to beat these videos up, but they're gonna oversaturate the hell out of these colors. So
I mean, obviously, yeah. The color of the smoke is super bright, and this, and it's going to be a little bit watered down probably by the time you get it.
Yeah. One thing I'm intrigued in, and actually I think I've mentioned this to you, is we might have to watch that again. Do you think that the smoke and the strobe were 2 different bore sizes?
Yeah, I don't know. It's outside of my pay grade.
The only reason I'm asking is because if you watch the strobe, it actually goes above and then falls through the smoke.
It does, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, if you kind of slow it down a little bit, yeah.
And I've actually I don't know. I've been wondering if that's the way to do it.
I think it's one of those cases where you should shoot the smoke early and then the strobe a slight delay instead of at the same time.
At the same time, yeah. What do you think, Patrick? What do you think about the cake? I'm sure you've seen the effects, obviously.
Yeah, it seems to be a pretty popular effect recently.
Yeah.
And I think overall, I like the look. I think, to Donnie's point, shooting the smoke first and then your strobe. But I think also maybe the strobe from above would help with kind of the smoke capturing the light a little longer.
Yeah, because you're going to fall through it.
Through the smoke,
just that little bit more, yeah.
I think the strobe on this one, with how quick it went, I think the strobe, if it could last a little longer, I think would do the cake a little bit more justice. But it looked pretty full and looked gorgeous. To your point, a little oversaturation probably, but so what you're going to get when you bite it on the end, but
yeah.
I like the look of the effect. It's something that you don't normally get, and adds a different element to the toolbox. Yeah.
So I've done this twice. I did it once at PGI, and then I did it for Chuangmei at NFA. And I liked the way I did it at PGI, and then I shot it I shot the sequence a little differently. I did less strobe and more smoke, and I think it looked good, but I agree, after shooting strobe first and then pushing the smoke through it, I agree that doing it reverse is the way to do it. I mean, it just looks so much better because, So I don't know. I mean, overall, like you said, Patrick, if If the strobe was a little longer, I think this would get a higher rating. I mean, I think it's a solid 6.5, 7 as it is.
Absolutely.
I can't even remember how many shots this one is.
6.
26. And
Yeah.
and there's no way you're going to get this for under 160, 170. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's...
it's like 7 seconds from start to your last shot. I mean, it's super, super fast. And then
super fast.
Yeah, within 10 seconds, the effect is pretty much just about gone. So, yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Compound cake. It's going to be probably two of them in a box, I guess. Or three.
It's three.
Yeah, 1-3.
1-3.
Yeah. That's,
yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of it'd be interesting to see how that's packaged.
It's going to be pricey. I mean, I know several other companies are working on it, doing something very similar to that. We have a smoke cake, and something I've been telling some of my customers to do actually is shoot the smoke waterfalls and start them out, and then we've been doing bright silver comets, and it actually pushes up through the smoke.
Yeah.
It adds a different element.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
some uplighting instead of,
Yeah. Yeah. So, again, there's numerous ways you can light it up. I don't know. We'll have to see how different companies process this and make cakes, because I don't feel like this is going to be the last year we see this. I think it's going to be kind of one of those trendy things in the pyro industry for, I don't know, probably 2, maybe 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, you get the little trends that pop up, and then they kind of fade away.
Donut shells, and then howls, and now smoke and strobe. So yeah, anything else on that one?
No, I think we covered that one. Yeah, I mean, I think the graphic paper looks a little slim, but
yeah,
obviously we don't have a great shot of it, but
it's pushing the boundaries, right? Because this is a Pro Line cake, and Pro Line is, I don't know if this is. Would you consider that a color wrap? To me, it's borderline.
I mean, it's like like yellow paper, like all those prints wrapped with. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a lot of marking. I don't know. I think it's very borderline-esque on the consumer versus Pro Line wrapping.
I mean, they're marketing it as a Pro Line, right? You don't really care too much about the graphics on it at that point, because you're not marketing it to the consumer.
Yeah, that's true, but I feel like the color wrapping is going to be more enticing to the shelves, if that makes sense. Like, it's going to be more enticed to be put on a shelf by a store owner. I don't know. Really, they're really riding that tail for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, got some pyro news.
Pyro news from Dominator.
Dominator
had news as well too.
Dominator did have news.
That is, yeah. They are. They published out there. They're expanding more into Europe.
To Europe.
Yeah, which was interesting because we just had Nick on.
We did,
and Nick was like, we don't have Dominator in the UK, and now Dominator puts out on the website they're going to be sending product to the UK.
It was very interesting.
I'm just going to claim that was from us. We're just going to claim that was because of us. I mean,
you're welcome, Europe.
Yeah. So, all right. So this week's Pyro News. This is actually something that actually happened a couple of years ago, and there was actually some OSHA released information on it. I thought we would kind of talk about this a little bit. So a couple of years ago, there was an Orlando warehouse fire. There was some explosion that happened in dealing with fireworks in Orlando. So Sunday was the 2-year mark of the explosion at a fireworks facility in Orlando that claimed the lives of 4 workers and injured others. So this has kind of been gone through a lot of OSHA stuff over the years, and so OSHA finally released a report about the incident. And in the report, it stated that employees were sorting and loading aerial fireworks with electric magic igniters, and alleged static charge from plastic tables and storage bins ignited the electric match and resulted in the detonation of fireworks. So I think that comes to a huge topic about the use of, a lot of us are using plastic floating tables on shoot sites.
Yeah.
What does that risk look like? Because obviously in this incident, they're saying that was the cause of an explosion that that killed people. And so what does that look like maybe for us going forward in our own lives, our own types on shoot sites, and use these plastic tables, and how we're using them to prep product?
Well, I guess my question would be, so Patrick, you're from the Florida area, so it's a lot more humid there all the time, right? So does the humidity also play a factor in with the plastic? I don't know. I mean, it's, I don't know. I'd be
Hard to
intrigued
tell,
by it.
right?
Yeah, right. And again, I'm not saying it's not the plastic. I don't know. I mean, Mercy, we use plastic tables all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's obviously lighter. It's more convenient than a wood table. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I got the story.
Interesting.
Yeah, this story came up in our KCAP channel, our KCAP Discord. We were actually kind of having some discussions about it, and like we were talking about, like was the E-match shunted or not shunted? How do we know that information, right? And if a E-match is shunted, is there any chance that a spark could set an E-match off if it was shunted, right? Like, stuff like that. That like we don't really necessarily know. Know that situation, right? And what role did that play in the process of were they using unshunted match or something?
Yeah. I don't know. Does it come down to, all right, well, now start wrapping? You're just laying a cardboard box on top of the table. Is that enough? Is it not?
I know that for us on like our shoe sites with KCAP, we're sorting all 1-3 out of the cardboard boxes they're coming from, and we're putting them directly on top of the tubes, so they're not even touching plastic tables.
Okay.
Because we're right on the shoe site, taking them from the box directly to the guns at that point. We don't really do a whole lot of sorting and stuff like that on plastic tables, essentially most of the time. So
you don't match or label or pre-prep any 1-3 at all?
Not normally, no.
Okay.
We do that. We do all of our 1-3. There's occasionally you might do some labeling ahead of time, right? But maybe some light sorting. But you're not doing anything with a match anywhere near the product until you're on the shoot site loading it. Especially for 1-3. 1-4, I think a lot of us are pre-matching and pre-handling and pre-prepping 1-4.
Yeah.
And
right.
I do use a plastic table for a lot of times.
Yeah.
And maybe now I'm thinking differently, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a topic of discussion to be had. I don't know. It'd be intriguing too.
I don't even know how you would even test that, right?
I don't know.
How are you even going to, in a controlled environment, try to create some type of static on some plastic and see if you can recreate that? I don't know.
Yeah. Not sure. Yeah, I don't know. This is very intriguing. Yeah, like you said, is it, what really caused it? Was it the plastic or, I don't know.
Yeah, kind of something kind of to think about as we kind of, as people are going through the safety-wise, you're prepping 1-3 and working 1-3 and you're working me matches and just making sure, you're being cautious and safe because this stuff is, a lot of people don't realize the danger.
Yeah. Well, it kind of even goes back to, completely wired systems in a thunderstorm. Where's your safety on that? In the end, obviously everything's loaded, and in theory, God willing, everything would go in the direction it was angled. But there are things that just happen, right? So,
we had Craig Hetherington on. He talked about that. that one time at PGI, the thunderstorm.
I was there.
The thunderstorm hit the equipment and set stuff off. Like it was.
It set the field out. It was like I was in one of the vending buildings, and we just heard this horrendous roar, and we walked out, and I caught the tail end of all the fireworks going off, and it was just insane. So. And then it goes down to, okay, well, do you use metal racks? Do you use aluminum racks? Do you use wood? I guess there is so many different factors into what do you use, why do you use it? Ease of setup, this, that, and the other. I don't know. I think there's pros and cons to every item that's used. Yeah, it's just, I think, all up to the end user. Yeah, that's my thought on that one.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, Patrick, anything else you wanna share with everybody while we got you on here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and it's an honor to be.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you for coming on.
Episode 17, not 16. 17.
17.
And, looking forward to seeing y'all out and about and keeping in touch and seeing where PyroJam 2025 takes us. Right.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to it.
So what's kind of next for you, Patrick? You just gonna keep cruising along at where you are and improving the stuff down there, or do you have aspirations to kind of do something else in the future?
I ultimately, from an employment perspective, I'm happy where I'm at, but I definitely, from a competition, want to continue to challenge myself and continue to push forward and participating in whatever I'm able to get involved with and bring into life some of the other stories that I have up here to tell.
Yeah, all right.
through painting the night sky. So
that's awesome.
That's perfect. Yeah, because I'm the same type of way. I like to create that story and that feel, and I think it's just taking the audience to that emotional ride is I think the ultimate kind of goal.
Yep, I agree.
You can tell too, like, not to extend this episode.
No. Yeah, no, you're right.
But I mean, you can tell the difference too when a designer just throws stuff into a show, or is putting a piece into a show to just fill space,
fill time. Yep.
Yeah, fill time. And my theory is every piece in a show should have a purpose, and you as a designer should be able to identify what that piece's purpose is.
Yeah.
If you're putting it into your show. And sometimes a filler is okay, but half of your show shouldn't be filler.
Agreed.
So, and finding that happy balance too, right, in different means to tell those stories. Balancing out narration and instrumental pieces versus lyrical pieces, and what parts are you going to design melodically, emotionally, understanding what your pieces do. Does it have movement? Does it have a secondary effect? And being able to bring that to life in unison with your audio track. Because a lot of shows you don't get a rehearsal, right?
Yeah, right.
Very, very few do you ever get a rehearsal. So your rehearsal is finale 3D.
Yeah.
And so even then, some of your pre-fire times may be slightly off and whatnot. Understanding what your product does and how you want to portray different aspects of your show is important too. So, not to go off on a tangent there with
no.
storytelling.
It's good stuff. It's good information. It's really good information.
That's a great way to wrap us up. Is every piece should have a purpose.
Every piece should have a purpose.
It's okay to have filler, but every piece should have a purpose. I think that's a good way to kind of send us off for the night. And again, Patrick, I want to thank you for coming on and spending the evening with us and talking about PyroJam and what you got going on in your life and sharing that with us and with our audience. And I think everybody will take a little piece out of this. And I think you've definitely have informed and provided some information that people didn't know about you and the pyro community that you're in.
Absolutely. I was the man behind the curtain before, but now here I am. So thank you for giving me the opportunity, and look forward to maybe coming back sometime in the future next season.
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you coming on and sharing some information, and see where this takes us.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, go out there and check out our website, pyrounleashedpodcast.com.
Yep.
We got some merch out there. If you're out there on Facebook, John Mickert, look him up. He's got some games and stuff going on out there. I know he's got some Pyro Unleashed merch, I think, in one of them that was going tonight.
I think it's either being released
I think he opened
Tuesday?
it earlier.
I think so. It might have been earlier already.
Yeah, he had a T-shirt going earlier. So go out there and check. Yeah, look up John. He's got a game going. He's also on our Discord as well. He posted the link. So come check out our Discord. Hang out with us. We're going to be doing one more episode with our closing, and then we'll be having some weekly meetups on Discord with everybody.
Most definitely. We're gonna fill everybody in on the closer, or are we gonna just keep her a secret?
We're just gonna keep it going, man.
Let's keep it a secret.
Keep it a secret.
All right. It's gonna be one you guys don't want to miss. It's really going to be a good one. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, guys, go out there and catch up on stuff. And again, thank you, Patrick. And
thank you again,
meantime, go out there and unleash your inner pyro with us.
This has been another episode of Pyro Unleashed. Come back each week for more industry insights, technical tips, and awesome pyro designs. Have fun out there, be safe, and as always, remember to unleash your inner pyro with us.